3 nights, someone knocked on my apartment door at exactly 3:07 a.m. Every single night. 3 knocks. Always at the same time. When I finally checked the security footage, I wished I hadn't. My name is Daniel. I was 21 years old and living alone in a small apartment. The rent was surprisingly cheap, but I didn't think much about it at the time. The building was old, quiet, and mostly empty. For the first few weeks, everything seemed normal. Then, one night, I woke up suddenly. The digital clock beside my bed read 3:07 a.m. A second later, I heard it. Knock, knock, knock. 3 slow knocks coming from my front door. I got out of bed and walked toward the entrance. My heart was racing. When I opened the door, the hallway was completely empty. There was nobody there. No footsteps. No sounds. Nothing. The same thing happened the next night. Exactly at Shamwul Sendanling Tithin. 3 knocks. Again, nobody was outside. That's when I decided to record the hallway using my phone. The next morning, I reviewed the recording. At first, everything looked normal. The hallway was empty, completely silent. Then something strange happened. The camera suddenly shifted on its own. It slowly pointed toward my apartment door. I couldn't explain it. Nobody had touched the phone. Later that day, I went to speak with the building manager. I wanted answers. The moment I mentioned apartment 307, his expression changed. He looked nervous. After a long silence, he showed me an old file. Years ago, another resident had lived in the same apartment. According to the report, he disappeared without a trace. Nobody ever found him. Before he vanished, he had reported hearing strange knocks at exactly 3:07 a.m. That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat awake in complete darkness, staring at the clock. Shamwo Sendanling Wufin. Shangwu Sendanling Liufin. Then finally, Shanwo Sendanling Tifin. Knock, knock, knock. The sound echoed through the apartment once again. This time, I refused to open the door. I stayed where I was and listened. A few moments later, my bedroom door began to move. Slowly, very slowly. It was opening by itself. I froze. There was no wind, no explanation. Behind the door was complete darkness. I couldn't see anything, but I felt like something was watching me. Suddenly, my phone lit up. Another notification. Another video. With shaking hands, I opened it. The video showed my apartment hallway. The timestamp read 3:07 a.m. At first, nothing seemed unusual. Then, a dark figure appeared at the end of the corridor. It wasn't walking. It wasn't moving. It was simply standing there, watching. Seconds later, the figure started getting closer. The screen began glitching. Static covered the image. Then, suddenly, the figure was standing directly in front of the camera. The video ended. I packed my belongings immediately. I left the apartment before sunrise. I never went back. A week later, I received one final notification. Another video. This time, the footage wasn't recorded inside apartment 307. It was recorded inside my new apartment. I never opened that video. And to this day, every year, at exactly 3:07 a.m., I still receive a notification from an unknown sender. And sometimes, I still hear 3 knocks. For a while, I tried to ignore the notifications. I convinced myself they were just some kind of sick prank. Maybe someone had found my number. Maybe someone was trying to scare me. But deep down, I knew it wasn't that simple. Months passed. Then, one night, I made a mistake. I opened one of the videos. The screen was completely black. At first, I thought the file was corrupted. Then I heard something. Breathing. Slow, heavy breathing. The kind of breathing you'd hear from someone standing very close to a microphone. I turned my volume up, and that's when I heard another sound. 3 knocks. Knock, knock, knock. The exact same pattern. The same pattern I had heard in apartment 307. My hands immediately started shaking. Then the video brightened slightly, just enough for me to see a hallway. It looked familiar, too familiar. A few seconds later, I realized why. It wasn't the hallway from apartment 307. It was the hallway outside my new apartment. The video wasn't old. It had been recorded recently. Someone had been outside my door, watching, recording, waiting. I paused the video and looked at the timestamp. It had been recorded the night before, while I was sleeping. I suddenly felt sick. I walked to my front door and checked the lock. It was still locked. Everything looked normal, but I couldn't stop thinking about that video. Later that night, I installed a security camera outside my apartment. I wanted proof, real proof. The next few nights were quiet. No notifications, no knocks, nothing. Then, on the 4th night, I checked the footage. At exactly 7:10, the camera suddenly lost signal. For 30 seconds, the screen went completely black. Then, the footage returned. Everything looked normal. Until I noticed one detail. Something was standing directly in front of the camera. So close that only part of it was visible. A shoulder, a piece of dark clothing, and what looked like a hand. The footage ended there. I never checked the recordings again. A few weeks later, I moved for the 2nd time. New city, new apartment, new phone number. I wanted to leave everything behind. But some things don't stay behind. Because on the first night in my new apartment, at exactly 7:10, I heard it again. Knock, knock, knock. 3 slow knocks, coming from the other side of the door. And this time, I wasn't sure I wanted to know who was there. I slowly walked toward the peephole. My hands were shaking. I looked outside. The hallway was empty. No footsteps. No movement. No one there? Then my phone vibrated. One new notification. Unknown sender. One new video. I didn't open it because I finally understood the truth. Whatever followed me from apartment 307 never stayed in the building. It followed me. And even today, every year at exactly 3:07 a.m., I still receive a notification from that unknown sender.